Good evening, and welcome to Election Night in America 2024. In this election matchup, President Joe Biden is facing off against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. In just moments away, Election Night 2024 will begin. Who will win in 2024? The approval rating of President Biden has not been in his favor. Go to January 20th, 2021, he is up by about the same amount of points that he won the election by. And then time goes on and nothing is getting done. In the middle of his first year, he goes underwater and just becomes more and more unpopular after that. By the 2022 midterms, nothing has changed. The economy is still bad. We are still in a recession. But then he climbs back up a bit. The economy recovers, and people are forgiving him for that. But as Election Day has been approaching, Ron DeSantis has been slamming him for all of his, as he says, terrible policies. He has fallen. President Biden is at 43% approval. The approval rating of Governor DeSantis, January 20th, 2021, he is at a terrible low. He had banned Florida schools from implementing mask mandates. He said if they did, then they would be cut of all funding from the Florida government. But then the COVID pandemic gets better, and Governor DeSantis rapidly gains more popularity, especially among the Republican Party. By the 2022 midterms, he's up. And now on Election Day, November 5th, 2024, he's at 56% approval rating. And again, just moments away, we'll have our first poll closings. And now we have our 2024 running mates. Vice President Kamala Harris is running as Joe Biden's running mate, as she was in 2020. Her approval ratings are at a historical low. And then the former United Nations ambassador and former South Carolina governor, Nikki Haley, is Ron DeSantis' running mate. They are both Southerners. They are both, for the most part, Trump supporters. Ron DeSantis really was, but Nikki Haley was more on and off. And this is really two historic running mates because they are both women. This marks the first time in an election where both major party running mates are women. And now we have our first poll closings of the night. We have our 7 p.m. poll closings in the states of Vermont, Indiana, Kentucky, Virginia, South Carolina, and Georgia. Just moments away, these polls will close. The Political Chatter News can now project that Vermont and its 3 electoral votes will go to President Biden. He is the projected winner here with 63.2%. One of the most democratic states in the nation. It did vote Democratic in 2020. Breaking news, Biden wins Vermont. The Political Chatter News can now project this. In the state of Indiana, its 11 electoral votes are projected to go to Ron DeSantis. He's the projected winner here with 61.5%. Breaking news, Ron DeSantis wins Indiana. Now the state of Kentucky, another 8 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. He wins 66% of the state. Of the votes in the state. DeSantis wins Kentucky and its 8 electoral votes. This is not a surprise here. Like Indiana and Vermont, this is expected. These are early calls, and they are no surprise. But in South Carolina, its 9 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis also. He wins by a margin of 14.8%. Sorry, I didn't write the actual amount of percentages he wrote, but that is about 54.8% around there. Ron DeSantis wins South Carolina. This is the home state of his running mate, Nikki Haley. This is her home state, and obviously they do have an advantage here. And in Georgia, the race is too close to call. Its 16 electoral votes are still up for grabs from both Biden and DeSantis. DeSantis leads, however, by 24.2%. He does not lead by that. 24.2% of the vote is in. So obviously in such a swing state that just by a tilt margin went to Biden in 2020, we can't project it yet with only 24.2%. Breaking news, Georgia is too close to call. And in Virginia, it's 13 electoral votes are still too close to call. Biden does lead, but only 30.7% of the vote is in. Virginia's too close to call. Regularly, this would not be a too close to call state, but saying that they, in 2021, elected a Republican governor, this is becoming more of a competitive state. And now we have our 7 p.m. poll. Our 7 p.m. poll closings are over, and Ron DeSantis has taken an early lead. In just moments away, our 7:30 p.m. poll closings will take place. So Ron DeSantis leads with 28 electoral votes, and Biden has 3 electoral votes, and 29 are still too close to call. Now we have our 7:30 p.m. poll closings in the states of Ohio, West Virginia, and North Carolina, just moments away. And in West Virginia, the Political Chatter News can now project that West Virginia and its 4 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. He's projected here with a whopping 73.6%. DeSantis wins West Virginia. And in North Carolina, its 16 electoral votes are too close to call. DeSantis does lead and he does have an advantage here because Trump won in 2020, and it's a southern state, and Ron DeSantis is a southerner, but still, such a swing state like North Carolina is still too close to call. And in Ohio, its 17 electoral votes are too close to call. Ohio, too close to call. 17 electoral votes still up for grabs. Biden does narrowly lead, but that is because they do count the votes in the cities first. 43% of the vote is in. It is likely to go to Ron DeSantis, saying how little it shifted to the left in 2020. It does say voted Democratic in 2020. That is a mistake. It did go to Trump by about 8 percentage points in the 2020 election. Moving on to our 7:30 p.m. poll closings. Our 8 p.m. poll closings. Our 7:30 p.m. poll closings are over. Ron DeSantis still hangs on to a lead by 29 electoral votes. So Biden has 3 electoral votes. Ron DeSantis has 32 electoral votes. And 62 electoral votes in Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, and Ohio are still too close to call. Moments away, our 8 p.m. poll closings will take place. Our 8 p.m. poll closings will be in Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, Tennessee, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Illinois, and Oklahoma. Sorry, it says Mississippi twice. And it is our 3rd poll closings of the night. In Massachusetts, its 11 electoral votes will go to Joe Biden. He is the projected winner here with 63.1% of the vote. Biden wins Massachusetts. And in Connecticut, the state's 7 electoral votes are also projected to go to President Biden. He wins with 53.7% of the vote. Biden wins Connecticut, the Political Chatter News can now project. And in Rhode Island, its 4 electoral votes will also go to Joe Biden. He wins 54.3% of the vote here. Biden wins Rhode Island. And in Maine's 1st district, Maine District 1. 1 electoral vote, only one, will go to Joe Biden. This is one of 2 states that does split their electoral votes among congressional districts. So 1 electoral vote will go to Biden here. This is the most densely populated district, and it was expected to go to him. In Maine at large, it's 2 electoral votes, so this is Maine's popular vote. It will also go to Biden. However, it is by a narrow margin, 51.9%. Biden wins Maine at large, and it's 2 electoral votes. But in Maine's 2nd district, so the more rural district, 1 electoral vote will go to Ron DeSantis. Here's the projected winner here, with 55.3%. DeSantis wins Maine's 2nd district. And in New Jersey, its 14 electoral votes are too close to call. Only 32.4% of the vote is in, but Biden does lead, just narrowly. And in Pennsylvania, it's 19 electoral votes, an extremely critical swing state in any presidential election cycle. Ron DeSantis does lead here with 37.4% in. Pennsylvania is too close to call. It did go to Biden by a narrow margin in 2020. And now Florida, a state that was only decided the 2000 presidential election by about 563 votes 24 years earlier, is not even too close to call at this point in time. Florida, its 30 electoral votes will go to its extremely popular governor, Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis will pick up Florida's 30 electoral votes. He's the projected winner here with 60.3%. This is a major pickup for the DeSantis campaign. It shows that the fact that it's not even too close to call really says something about DeSantis' power. DeSantis wins Florida, and this is a huge pickup for the DeSantis campaign. Moving on to Maryland, its 10 electoral votes will go to Biden. He wins here by 62.2%. In Delaware, the president's home state, unlike in 2016, it's not too close to call, and its 3 electoral votes will go to Joe Biden. He's the projected winner here with 58.9% of the vote. Biden wins Delaware. And in Washington, D.C., its 3 electoral votes will go to President Biden as expected. He wins a whopping 87% of the vote. This did go Democratic also in the 2020 election. And in Mississippi, its 6 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. He is the projected winner here, another southern state that Ron DeSantis was easily able to get on his side. That also goes for Alabama, and it's 9 electoral votes. He wins 65% here. And in Tennessee, 11 electoral votes. Ron DeSantis will win 57.2% of the vote. DeSantis wins Tennessee. And in Missouri, its 10 electoral votes will also go to Ron DeSantis. He wins 59.7% here. And in Oklahoma, it's 7 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. He's the projected winner here. He did very well in the state of Oklahoma with 68.8% of the vote. And in Illinois, it's 19 electoral votes. The Political Chatter News can now project will go to President Biden. He wins 56.9% of the vote. A slight decrease from 2020, saying that Biden is very unpopular at this point in time. And we have a key race alert. We can move New Jersey out of the too close to call column. We can now project, the Political Chatter News can now project that New Jersey will go to President Biden and Vice President Harris. This is breaking news. Biden wins the state of New Jersey with 53.8%, a state that went to him in 2020. And we have another key race alert. We can move Ohio out of the key race alert column. We can now project that Ron DeSantis will carry the state's 17 electoral votes, a big pickup for the DeSantis campaign. He wins 53.4% of the vote here. And in Virginia, we have another key race alert. Virginia and its 13 electoral votes will go to Joe Biden. He is the projected winner here with 52.2% of the vote. And our 8 p.m. poll closings are over. Ron DeSantis does lead in this election night. So Biden has 90 electoral votes. Ron DeSantis still leads with 123 electoral votes, and 51 electoral votes are still too close to call. Those come out of the states of Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. And just moments away, our 8:30 p.m. poll closing in the state of Arkansas will come. And again, our 8:30 p.m. poll closings will only be in Arkansas. Moments away, the 4th poll closing will take place. And we have breaking news, actually, coming from Kanye West and the birthday party. Kanye West makes last-minute end to campaign in an attempt to stop, as he calls, Brandon, referring to President Biden. And he wants people to get out for DeSantis instead of himself. So Kanye West has withdrawn from the presidential race. He was not seen as a serious contender, and he is telling the people who have not voted for him yet in the western part of the United States, where the polls have not closed, to quote unquote stop Brandon, as he said. That is his quote. The Political Chatter News does report that Kanye West is out of the presidential race. He has withdrawn. And in Arkansas, its 6 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis as projected with 67% of the vote. And our 8:30 p.m. poll closings are over, and Ron DeSantis still leads. President Biden has 90 electoral votes. Ron DeSantis has 129 electoral votes, and 51 electoral votes are too close to call. And in just moments away, our very critical 9 p.m. poll closings will take place. And now we have our 9 p.m. poll closings in New York, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, and Louisiana. Those will close in just moments. They are our 5th poll closings of the night. In New York, The state's 28 electoral votes will go to Joe Biden. He's the projected winner here. No surprise here, Biden wins the state of New York with 59.3% of the vote. And in Michigan, the state's 15 electoral votes are too close to call. Ron DeSantis does lead. However, the votes in the rural parts of the state are counted first. And of course, obviously, those states tend to go to the Republican candidate. 30.4% of the vote is in, so obviously it is too early to call. We cannot, not enough votes to call the state of Michigan. And in Wisconsin, the state's 10 electoral votes, another very critical swing state. Ron DeSantis does lead, but only 25.9% of the vote is in. This is a state that really can go either way. Wisconsin is too close to call. And in Minnesota, the state's 10 electoral votes, Joe Biden wins in the state. He did win it by about 7 points or maybe even 10 points in the 2020 election, where Hillary Clinton back in 2016 just won it by 1.5%. Minnesota is too close to call. This does show how powerful Ron DeSantis is, saying that such a weak candidate like Hillary Clinton was able to win it in 2016. And in North Dakota, the electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis with 64.2% of the vote. Along with South Dakota, another 3 electoral votes, but with 61.3% of the vote. And in Nebraska's 3rd district, this is the most rural district in the state of Nebraska. It's 1 electoral vote. 76.5% of the vote will go to Ron DeSantis, the most conservative electoral vote in the United States. Ron DeSantis wins here. He wins in Nebraska's 3rd district with 76.5% of the vote. And in Nebraska's 1st district, a slightly more densely populated district, but not by much. 1 electoral vote will also go to Ron DeSantis here. 58% of the vote he wins. And in Nebraska's 2nd district, it is 1 electoral vote, very densely populated here, and Biden leads with 68.5% of the vote in, but this is too close to call. It will be easy to count the votes, but it is very close at this moment. Biden just narrowly leads. This is a district that goes back and forth in presidential elections. And now in Nebraska's at large, it's 2 electoral votes. Ron DeSantis is the projected winner with 58.9% of the vote. And in Kansas, 6 electoral votes are projected to go to Ron DeSantis by 57.8% of the vote. Breaking news, Ron DeSantis wins the state of Kansas. It did go to Trump in 2020. And in Wyoming, it's 3 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis, as expected, 70.4% of the vote here. And in New Mexico, it's 5 electoral votes will go to Joe Biden, not Ron DeSantis. He's the projected winner here with 52.5% of the vote. However, the state of Colorado, just right above, it's 10 electoral votes, which did go to him by a wider margin than New Mexico in 2020, is too close to call. Biden does lead here. He does lead by a pretty comfortable margin, but only 53% of votes in. It is too early to call. More Colorados are willing to vote for the other side than in the state of New Mexico. So Ron DeSantis does have a small slot at winning the state of Colorado with the president's unpopularity. In Arizona, it's 11 electoral votes are too close to call. Ron DeSantis does lead. 53% of the vote is in. It's too close and too early to call. We cannot project anything with 53% of the vote, but it is a very narrow race coming into the state of Arizona. In Texas, it's 40 electoral votes. Ron DeSantis' southern roots are really playing a role here. Florida was called this early, and now Texas can be called this early. Texas, and its 40 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. This is a major win for the DeSantis campaign. They needed Texas to win, and it won't even be too close to call. This is breaking news. Ron DeSantis wins Texas, and this gives him a much better shot at winning the presidency. He wins with 55.3% of the vote. The Political Chatter News can now project that Ron DeSantis will carry the state of Texas. And in Louisiana, it's 8 electoral votes will also go to Ron DeSantis, a smaller amount of electoral votes, but still something. 58.6%, another southern state where Ron DeSantis will do well, or did well. And we have a key race alert coming out of the state of Colorado, a state that voted for him in 2020. Colorado, as expected, its 10 electoral votes will be projected to go to Joe Biden, with 51.9% of the vote going to him. Breaking news, Biden wins the state of Colorado. And now, our 9 p.m. poll closings are over. and DeSantis still hangs on to a lead. Biden has 133 electoral votes, and Ron DeSantis has 196 electoral votes. 98 electoral votes, however, are too close to call. Those are the electoral votes coming out of Arizona, Nebraska's 2nd District, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Just moments away, our 10 p.m. poll closings will take place. And now we have our 10 p.m. poll closings in the states of Iowa, Montana, Utah, and Nevada. We also have some breaking news over on the side here. Former Illinois U.S. Representative Adam Kinzinger promises to switch political parties if DeSantis is elected president. Adam Kinzinger was prominently known for being an anti-Trump Republican back in the Trump years and all throughout Biden's presidency. This really does not mean much, for Adam Kinzinger is not in office, but it more represents more. And just moments away, our sixth poll closings will take place. In the state of Montana, its 4 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. He's the projected winner here with 55.9% of the vote. And in Utah, the state's 6 electoral votes will also go to Ron DeSantis, 58.6% of the vote. He wins here. And in Iowa, the state's 6 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis also. This will not be too close to call. Very interesting, saying that Obama won it by a likely margin in 2008 and 2012, yet flipped likely for Trump in 2016, stayed likely for Trump in 2020, and it will remain a likely state for the Republican Party in the 2024 election. Ron DeSantis wins 51.4% of the vote here. DeSantis wins Iowa. And in Nevada, the state's 6 electoral votes are too close to call. Ron DeSantis does lead. 34.3% of the vote is in. Ron DeSantis narrowly leads, but it is too close and too early to call. Nevada did go to Biden in 2020. It also went to Hillary Clinton in 2016. And now we have our 10 p.m. poll closings are over. Ron DeSantis leads. Biden has 133 electoral votes. Ron DeSantis has 212 electoral votes. And 104 electoral votes are too close or too early to call. Just moments away, our 11 p.m. poll closings will take place. Now we have our 11 p.m. poll closings in the states of Idaho, California, Hawaii, Oregon, Washington, and New Hampshire. This is a major poll closing for the Democratic Party because this West Coast is solidly Democratic, and California always brings them a whole ton of electoral votes. We also have breaking news coming out of the state of New Hampshire. New Hampshire polls are malfunctioning, and it was disallowing voters to properly cast their vote. The poll closings there have been rescheduled to 11 p.m. So, in addition to California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Hawaii, New Hampshire's polls will close. They have not been closed yet. This is a big malfunction, very serious, and there will be many recounts because of this, but they have been rescheduled to 11 p.m. New Hampshire's polls will now close also. And going to New Hampshire, speaking of New Hampshire, its 4 electoral votes are too early to call. Ron DeSantis does lead, but only 11.3% due to the malfunction is in. 11.3%. We cannot call anything. New Hampshire's too close to call. This will be a critical swing state in this year's election, as they are becoming more conservative year by year. And in Idaho, the state's 4 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. As expected, he's the projected winner here with 64.5%. And in California, the state's 54 electoral votes, huge pickup for the Biden campaign. They really needed this to get back in the race. Joe Biden, projected winner here with 61.7%. The Political Chatter News can now project that Biden wins California. And in Oregon, the state's 8 electoral votes will go to Joe Biden with 52.7%. Biden wins in Oregon. Along with Washington, he wins 52.7% also here, and it's 12 electoral votes. And in Hawaii, another 4 electoral votes, 62.8% here now. Biden wins in Hawaii. And our 11 p.m. poll closings are over. Ron DeSantis, it says DeSantis does lead. Never mind. Ron DeSantis just leads by 5 electoral votes. This will be a very close race as of right now. So, Biden has 211 electoral votes. Ron DeSantis has 216 electoral votes, and 108 electoral votes are still too close to call. DeSantis leads, but by 5 electoral votes. And just moments away, our 1 a.m. poll closing in Alaska will take place. And again, our 1 a.m. poll closing in Alaska is just moments away, our 8th poll closing of the night. And Biden has dubbed the New Hampshire malfunction as the disaster in New Hampshire. Biden puts it a state which is a major swing state in this year's election, as mentioned previously. But Biden has put New Hampshire as the disaster in New Hampshire, and it really is. The malfunction really will play a role if the election is very close in election night. And in Alaska, the state's 3 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis as expected. He's the projected winner here with 51.9%, but DeSantis wins Alaska. And our 1 a.m. poll closing is over. Ron DeSantis still leads with 219 electoral votes to Biden's 211, and 108 are still too close to call. And we have a key race alert coming out of the state of Minnesota. Minnesota and the state's 10 electoral votes, which was too close to call earlier, will go to Joe Biden. Breaking news, Biden wins the state of Minnesota. He will win here. He will win the state's 10 electoral votes. But in Georgia, we have another key race alert, and we have a flip. Georgia and the state's 16 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. He's the projected winner here with only 51.1% of the vote. Again, this is a flip. Biden was narrowly and unexpectedly able to win it in 2020. And in North Carolina, we'll have another key race alert. Not a flip, but, sorry, it says Georgia up there, but North Carolina and the state's 16 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. He's the projected winner here with 51.7%, a very narrow win, but his southern roots, again, come into play. North Carolina will go to Ron DeSantis. And in Nebraska's 2nd district, we have another key race alert. The district's 1 electoral vote will go to Ron DeSantis. Not a major pickup for it is 1 electoral vote, but hey, it's something. He's the projected winner here with only 49.6% of the vote, not even the majority. DeSantis wins Nebraska's 2nd. And in Arizona, we have a major key race alert. Arizona, an extremely close state, will flip. This is a flip from 2020. It will flip into the Republican Party's hands. The state's 11 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. He's the projected winner here with 50.9%. Breaking news, Ron DeSantis carries the state of Arizona and the state's 11 electoral votes. The Political Chapter News can now project Arizona will go to DeSantis. And now DeSantis' lead has widened. Widened as more swing states are called. He now has 263 electoral votes, and Biden has 221, and 54 are still too close or early to call, and just moments away, the rest of the swing states will be called. And in Wisconsin, we have a major key race alert, and we have a flip like Arizona and Georgia. Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes will flip from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. Ron DeSantis is the projected winner here with 51.5%. DeSantis wins Wisconsin. And the presidency has been called, and it is a flip from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. With 273 electoral votes at this moment, the presidency has been called to Ron DeSantis. Only 270 are needed to win. He has 3 more than he needs. As of right now, there are a few states that need to be called. But this is breaking news, major news. Ron DeSantis has won the presidency of the United States. At this point in time, he has 55.8% of the national popular vote. And in Pennsylvania, we have a key race alert. It doesn't matter because DeSantis has already won. But DeSantis has won the keystone state of Pennsylvania, and it's 19 electoral votes. This is another flip. Ron DeSantis is the projected winner here with 50.3%. Breaking news, DeSantis wins Pennsylvania. And in Nevada, we have another key race alert. The state's 6 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. He's the projected winner here. This is a flip from 2020. and 2016. It did go to Hillary Clinton by 2.4% in 2016, then went to Biden by 2.4% in 2020. So this is really astonishing that the state of Nevada has flipped to the Republican Party. The state's 6 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis, as he has won 51.4% of the vote. And in Michigan, we have a key race lawyer. The state's 15 electoral votes will go to Ron DeSantis. This is a flip from 2020. He has won 49.9% of the vote, not the majority, but he has won the state of Michigan, which is really astonishing, saying that Barack Obama was able to win it by a solid, so more than 15% margin in 2008. And just 16 years later, it is a Republican state now, which is really, really amazing. Ron DeSantis has carried the state of Michigan. And Ron DeSantis has won the presidency with 313 electoral votes. This is a historic night for a president who has not won re-election, who had previously just defeated a president running for re-election. So Biden has lost, with 221 electoral votes to DeSantis' 313, and 4 are still too close to call. What is that state? Or really too early to call. That's the state of New Hampshire. In just moments away, New Hampshire is to be called. And we can now project that New Hampshire has flipped from a 7-point margin in 2020 for the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. Ron DeSantis wins 49.4% of the vote. This really is historic. Breaking news, Ron DeSantis has won the state of New Hampshire and his 4 electoral votes with 94.4%. Ron DeSantis has won the presidency with 317 electoral votes, that's supposed to say. And Biden has won 221 electoral votes, and 0 are too close or early to be called. Ron DeSantis has won the presidency of the United States.